In this video, I'm going to walk through 5 SaaS pricing models in 5 minutes. There are more ways to price SaaS than most people think, and I'm going to walk through the top 5 from the most common to the lesser known. I'm Rob Walling. I'm a startup founder with multiple exits, the author of 3 books on building startups, and an investor in more than 100 companies. Every year with MicroConf, which is our online and in-person community of SaaS founders, we do a survey, and we call it the State of Independent SaaS. And this is to capture data from folks who aren't necessarily on the venture track. So it's bootstrapped, mostly bootstrapped SaaS companies. You can still raise funding and be part of this, but they're independent and they're not on that venture treadmill. And one of the questions we ask is about pricing models. And so the top 5 models that I'm going to cover in this video come from that question. And because of this survey and report, which you can check out at stateofindysaas.com, we know how often each of these is used, at least according to the folks who respond to the survey. SaaS pricing model number 1 is monthly. This is used by almost 47% of SaaS companies that we've surveyed, and I would say that's about right. Many SaaS companies charge monthly, and it is the most common pricing structure. Pricing model number 2 is annual, and this is where you charge for a full year upfront. Some companies discount. Maybe they do 12 months for the price of 10, 20% off, 15% off, and other folks only charge annual. And in fact, according to our State of Independent SaaS report, almost 36% of SaaS companies charge annually. And charging annually can be a great way to get a lot of cash upfront from a new customer that allows you to then reinvest in growth. Pricing model number 3 is metered pricing. Only 6.6% of respondents to our survey said that they use metered pricing. It's definitely a less common way to go. Usually SaaS companies use tiers, and they are then able to capture a bit more value than a true metered approach that, meters up and down with an individual value metric, an individual subscriber count, as opposed to having tiers of subscribers, for example. Pricing model number 4 is pay as you go. Looks like about 4.5% of SaaS companies use pay as you go. And this was a model, the first time I ever saw it was with MailChimp, where instead of having a subscription, you could buy credits that are more expensive than if you just paid monthly. But this was a way for people to dip their toe in the water when they don't want to pay that recurring amount. And now there are many SaaS companies, apparently about 4.5% of SaaS companies who have some option to use pay as you go. Before I dive in to the 5th SaaS pricing model, if you're enjoying this video, I'd love it if you'd hit that like button below and subscribe to the channel. We have amazing videos coming out focused on SaaS, being a SaaS founder, growing your SaaS, and they're coming out every week. With that, let's dive in to the 5th SaaS pricing model, which is revenue share. It looks like about 2.3% of SaaS companies have a revenue share component. You might think of this as like Shopify, where you have a monthly fee, but also they take a cut off the top of everything that you sell. And so while this is not a super common way to price SaaS, it is definitely one that I think has become more popular as companies like Stripe and Shopify and a lot of Shopify add-ons take just a small percentage of the dollars that you are pushing through the system. It's also called gross merchant value, or GMV. If you ever hear that term, that is the total dollars being processed through a SaaS app. And then if you take, let's say, a 2% revenue share on the GMV, then that would be your SaaS revenue, in addition to any monthly recurring charges. Thanks so much for joining me as we walk through these 5 SaaS pricing models explained. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.